The Vice President for Governmental Affairs, the Independent Insurance Agents of North Carolina. We're fortunate to have with us Senator Natasha Marcus, who is an announced candidate. She's filed her paperwork and will be running in the Democratic primary for Insurance Commissioner. Senator Marcus, how are you today?
Well, I'm well, Joe. Thanks for the invitation.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time to talk to the independent agents all across the state of North Carolina. First and foremost, introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them a little bit about your background and experience and the things that you think would be valuable and useful for you in the role of Insurance Commissioner.
Happy to do that. First, let me say a big happy anniversary. I understand your organization is celebrating its 125th anniversary. I would say you don't look a day over 124. But on a more serious note, I also want to start by saying that I appreciate so much the history of your organization, all that you do for the people of North Carolina. I've been particularly impressed with your commitment to reduce distracted driving, and also your underwriting, creating of the state's 3 schools of insurance, which I hope to visit soon. I'd like to sit in on the class and understand it's so important to educate the future generation. So I would like to introduce myself. Thank you for that opportunity. I'm Natasha Marcus. I am a former litigation attorney by trade. I am a mother of 2 adult daughters who live in other states now. I am in my 3rd term in the North Carolina Senate, where I serve on 6 committees, one of which is the Insurance and Commerce Committee. And I have held various leadership positions in my caucus while I've been serving in the Senate. I am also someone who has bought insurance and made claims on my insurance, including the 3 biggest claims that I've ever had to make in my lifetime, all of which happened in about the last 12 months, the last calendar year for me, when I had to have gallbladder surgery, when I'm otherwise very healthy, and a new roof, and had an expensive car accident all in about the past 12 months. So everything is resolved now, I'm happy to say. But as I was dealing with those stressful situations, it really brought home the very human side of insurance and how it's about meeting people's needs in their most vulnerable moments, like I was experiencing. And so that really brought it home to me how important it is to have a system that works, to have a policy that is what you need. Not too much, but not enough either, and make sure you're covered as you think you are. So a little bit more about me. I did not grow up in North Carolina, but I like to say I got here as quick as I could. I came in 1991, right out of college, to attend law school in North Carolina and never left. I spent the first winter here and saw that the sky stays blue and decided this is where I want to stay. So I practiced law here. I've lived my entire adult life in North Carolina, in Durham first, then in Greensboro. And I now live in some say it's a suburb of Charlotte, in Mecklenburg County. I live in Davidson, North Carolina, where Davidson College is. Go Wildcats. I've raised my 2 daughters here, who I mentioned earlier, and I plan to retire here in North Carolina. While I've been in the state Senate, my goal has always been to advocate for the people of North Carolina without being beholden to donors or special interests. My campaigns have always been funded by grassroots, mostly small grassroots donations. So I can really keep my focus on what is best for the people that I represent. I don't tend to ask whether an idea is a Democratic idea or Republican idea. I am a Democrat, but I don't think about ideas and public policy in that framework. I think a good example of that, just to drive home what I mean and show that I mean it when I say it, is that I have always been a proponent of Medicaid expansion. Since even before I was ever elected, I used to volunteer and then worked for a community service center here in Davidson. And I saw firsthand all the people who worked sometimes 2 and 3 jobs and could not afford to see a doctor when they're sick. They didn't have insurance. And I knew that that was just not right. Morally, but also the wrong thing to do economically for our state. And so I feel a great sense of accomplishment that we finally got Medicaid expansion passed here in North Carolina on a bipartisan basis. I think it's going to be very good for the people of North Carolina, our economy generally, and I do believe it will bring down insurance rates for everyone by lowering the amount of uncompensated care that has historically been really high in North Carolina. I want to do this job as Commissioner of Insurance and be your next Commissioner of Insurance because I want to continue my service to the people. I want to always keep working families' interests at the forefront because I know that almost every person, I don't want to say every person, so almost every person in North Carolina needs insurance. And so I have found just in the first week of this campaign, I just filed about a week ago, that most people don't know what the Department of Insurance does. They don't understand the job of Commissioner of Insurance, but they will when I talk to them. And I think everyone knows how important it is to have the right insurance and have it working for them when they need it. And so that thrills me, the idea of being able to help people and continue to put their interests first. I am not a former insurance agent or adjuster. I've never worked for an insurance company, and I've never been a lobbyist. So when I practiced law, I sued some insurance companies sometimes. I also defended insurance companies sometimes. So I like to say I come to this job clean, free of any biases or favoritism, and I look forward to the race ahead.
Well, that's great. Well, one of the functions of the Department of Insurance, as you said, is, of course, monitoring and overseeing the conditions of the marketplace, making sure that the carriers are conducting themselves in an appropriate manner, reviewing and ensuring that
Exactly.
agents are acting in the consumer's best interest. Overall, what is your perspective on the current insurance marketplace on North Carolina? What do you think will be the primary challenges that you'll face coming in should you be elected insurance commissioner relative to the marketplace?
Right. So this is how I kind of see the marketplace and where I see the issues. And I am open to hearing from your organization and the people of North Carolina as I campaign across the state about what they see. I think that's really important to be open to say, tell me what you see, tell me what you know. But from what I can see so far, I think that it is obviously true. As I said earlier, most North Carolinians need insurance, various products within the market, but they don't always know what all their options are, where to turn for reliable advice about this policy over that policy, what's too much, what's not enough. And then, of course, several people encounter problems with their coverage. I know as a state senator, I hear from people in my district who say, I can't get help for this. Can you help me? So I know that happens. And I also know that typically folks want to pay less without sacrificing coverage, right? There is this sense of frustration and fatigue, I think, right now in North Carolina, following so many rate hikes, at kind of an unprecedented number of rate hikes we've seen recently, most done without public hearing. So there's not been a lot of transparency there. Now, that said, most North Carolinians don't know. I think that North Carolina actually has a long history of some of the lowest insurance rates in the nation. And so a lot of what we've been doing, even since before Jim Long was insurance commissioner, do folks remember him way back when? A lot of what we've been doing is actually good policy. Now, that said, I think there's always room for improvement. We need to evolve with the times. I think we all would agree, I hope, Joe, that we need fair and reasonable regulations. We can't just let anybody do whatever and let the market solve everything. I think there is a role for government in the insurance market. I am a fan of smart, targeted reforms when necessary. We have to keep evolving. So we need to help you and your members be able to address what consumers are asking for. What are their needs? How do we need to help educate the public? I think we need, as I mentioned earlier, more transparency in the process of setting the rates so that people understand how that happens and why, if rates have to go up, why? Is it absolutely necessary? Show me the proof. I think we need to always worry about, I'm very aware of that this job of Commissioner Insurance is a balancing of interests. We have to ensure a competitive market and a vibrant marketplace. We can't be anti-insurance companies or agents because that's going to drive business out of the state. And that is not in the end good for consumers who need to have a variety of options, right? So we need innovative options. Accident forgiveness is one of those options that I think was debated before my time in this space as something that people want. It's a way to offer things that might help. I'm someone who always does my homework in every job I've ever had all through school. And so I'm going to be constantly learning, listening to people, looking to other states to see what is working there. Does that work? Would that work here? Should we improve? Should we consider it? Open to ways that we should evolve. I think one area that I'm seeing a problem, Joe, is generally I think we have pretty competitive rates, pretty low rates, but I know that on the coast, homeowners insurance is a problem. And I just want to say loud and clear, I believe in the science of climate change. It is real, it is impacting the people, especially who live on the coast. And if our state continues to put our head in the sand about that reality, instead of doing the math that is very clear, I think we have a problem. So I am always, ever since I've been in the Senate, advocate for policies that can try and turn that very scary train around, and help our environment and our people, insurance rates, and our state's ability to grow and expand and have a great economy. I will also mention, unfortunately, there are always liars and cheats in this business, just like every other business. So we see that happening. We need a commissioner who's going to root out the bad actors. I think all the good apples in the room want that, and we want to root out fraud. And I will just acknowledge, since I'm talking to you here, Joe, that your members, the big I, as I understand, you like to be called, are in a great position, a critical role to help North Carolinians really understand what the options are and help them make that informed choice that they need about how to navigate this market. It's a hard market now, right? It has been for a while. What are the options that are best for any individual person? Your agents understand the business that they're running, if it's a business, or what the needs are of those particular people, and can offer a lot of options. So I think that's a really important role that you all play as independent agents here in the market, and that should be valued. And I look forward to working with you as the next commissioner of insurance.
Well, should you be elected in November of 2024 as insurance commissioners, I mean, you win the primary. It's primary both the Democratic and Republican side. But should you be elected, what will be your top priorities effective January of 2025 when you take office? They don't have to be insurance related specifically. Just let folks know watching this video what you think the most pressing concerns that you want to address as the new insurance commissioner.
Right. So trying to predict what will be needed in January of 2025 as we sit here in December of 2023. So don't hold me to every single detail of this, Joe, because again, I like to be able to evolve and react to what I hear as I campaign. And I do intend to win and run this agency. So I think first has to be to ensure a smooth transition to a new leader at the Department of Insurance. It's been a while since we have had someone new in that role. And so we got to make sure that the agency continues to function, perform its daily tasks, move forward efficiently and professionally, to meet the needs of the people and the industry. I plan to rely on those subject matter experts at the Department of Insurance who will be guided by, of course, my compass, which is always going to be set toward consumer protection. What do the people need? And in order to do that, I think it's really important to keep politics out of the Department of Insurance office and the policies. I think it was a mistake for the incumbent to fire experts when he came in and move regional offices around just to give jobs to political friends. I know there's a lot of good subject matter experts at the Department of Insurance. They're professionals, they're knowledgeable, and we should keep their expertise, not show them the door. And under my leadership, I think we can do that. And we can also attract a staff that reflects the diversity of our great state. And so I look forward to that. Again, I don't think people want politics deciding what their rates are, what companies do business here. And I'm going to keep that top of mind as we make that smooth transition. Listening to the people who work there, groups like yours outside of the Department of Insurance office itself, and have a smooth transition. So that'd be number one. Second, I think it's a key that we increase transparency at the Department of Insurance. We see a problem with the way the public perceives the General Assembly, where I serve now, when there isn't transparency, when they feel like they're not being heard, when deals are being made outside of the public view for unknown reasons. And I think that is unfortunately the way the public views what's been happening in the Department of Insurance. So I am in favor, always in favor of more transparency, more public hearings, fewer private settlements. I think my role as a litigator, somebody who's very comfortable in court, presenting evidence, questioning people, getting to the bottom of it, in a judicial or quasi-judicial setting, will come in handy in that respect. I think public hearings are good for public transparency. So that would be 2. Number 3, I would say that this is maybe kind of general, but I think I just want to reassure and emphasize that my focus will remain on ensuring that rates are as affordable as possible, that valid claims are paid, and that consumers understand their policies and their rights, so they get the right policy. And then once they've paid for that policy, they understand what their rights are under that policy. And then, as I mentioned, rooting out the bad actors and fraud in our state. So, for example, I think consumer services at DOI are something that the typical North Carolinian, I think, isn't aware of, that they can go to the DOI as a resource and help for that. So I think that could be better advertised, so that, again, we're serving the people of the state. That is, in the end, the role of the Commissioner of Insurance, right? We are not hired by we're not appointed by anyone or hired by a company. The Commissioner of Insurance is elected by the people of North Carolina to look out for them when it comes to matters of insurance. And that's the job that I want to stay focused on.
Right. Final 30 seconds. Make your pitch. 10,000 independent insurance agents across the state will be watching this video. Tell them why should they vote for Natasha Marcus.
Thank you so much for that. I've appreciated the time. I hope I've answered your questions. I look forward to some more back and forth. I am a proven leader, somebody who has held public office now for going on 6 years, representing the people of our state. I have been an outspoken leader. I know when to fight. I know when to make an agreement and come together and be nonpartisan. I think it's time for a change in our leadership at the Department of Insurance, and I look forward to talking with you more and ask for your vote when it comes to the primary and then the general election in November. Thank you so much. You can get more information about me at natashamarcus.com.
Natasha Marcus, currently a state senator in Mecklenburg County and a Democratic candidate for insurance commissioner. Thank you so much for taking time for this conversation.
Thank you, Joe, and thanks everybody for watching.